President Trump taking aim at Google, tweeting this over the weekend, quote, Google is helping China and their military, but not the U.S. Terrible. The good news is that they helped crooked Hillary Clinton and not Trump. And how did that turn out? The president responding to this warning from the nation's top general. We first played this for you last week.
The work that Google is doing in China is indirectly benefiting the Chinese military. We watch with great concern when industry partners work in China, knowing that there is that indirect benefit. And frankly, indirect may be not a full characterization of the way it really is. It's more of a direct benefit to the Chinese military.
Google denies these claims, issuing this statement to Bulls and Bears, quote, we are not working with the Chinese military. We are working with the U.S. government, including the Department of Defense, in many areas, including cybersecurity, recruiting, and health care, end quote. Retired four-star general and Fox News senior strategic analyst Jack Keane joins us now. General, can we trust Google?
Well, I would want to think we could, but I'm a little stunned by what's taken place here. You know, certainly Google's got a right to decide, you know, what kind of businesses they want to pursue, and they pulled out of competition for the Pentagon's cloud operation, and also they pulled out of a capability to improve the analysis of the videos from our drones, the imaging from them. And they got a right to do that. But what stunned me is what followed. They said they pulled out of it because those endeavors are not in line with their corporate values. And they were responding to employees' request that Google no longer work for the Defense Department or give assistance to the Defense Department to pursue warlike activities. That I find is quite remarkable, given the fact that it's America's values that have permitted Google to thrive and prosper, America's values that are defended by the United States military, I may say. So it's a sort of a stunning comment, and I think they've entered into a bit of a public relations nightmare for themselves here.
Do you find, though, that this is just an example? We were talking about GM earlier in the show.
Who am I talking to?
Christina. This is Christina Partsinevelos. So we were talking about government intervention and the president weighing in on GM. So wasn't this almost a very similar situation where you have the president speaking in third person while he tweets that Google should have been involved or should be helping out the U.S. military? But my question for you, General, does this show that maybe Google doesn't trust the government to do right with its technology?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what they would base that on. I don't know what the track record that you're alluding to here, that somehow we do what with the technology. We take
but if they didn't go ahead with Dragonfly.
Let me finish. You're stepping on me. If you take the technology that the defense industry provides to the United States and specifically here to the military, I mean, obviously we use that technology to protect America's national interests. So what's the misuse?
Think of the situations abroad, and this is your specialty, not mine, but if you misuse with drone technology, the abuses, again, I don't know all the details, but I'm asking you, possibly could that be a concern from the company?
Give me a single abuse of drone technology.
Like I said, you are the expert in it. I am not. Therefore, I didn't want to get.
Why are you mentioning it then?
Because if they're not going with the corporate values, and they are scared that the U.S. government is going to use their technology for purposes that may not be in the best interest of what they believe is right, is that a concern? That's pretty much showing that maybe Google doesn't trust what the government could do with its technology, and that's what I'm asking you.
I have no idea. Well, I know what we do with drone technology. It protects America's interest. I guess you're assuming, you're alluding to the fact that on occasion drones have misfired and have killed innocent civilians on the battlefield, just as soldiers have killed innocent civilians on the battlefield, just as normal kinetic bombs have killed innocent civilians on the battlefield. There is no country in the world, by the way, Christina, that takes more pain to avoid civilian casualties. This country never points its weapons intentionally at civilians. We absolutely avoid that, while China, on the other hand, points its weapons at civilians on a regular basis.
General Jonathan Hoenig. Go ahead,
General
Liz.
John Layfield here. I got the pleasure of you hosting me along with Sergeant Major of the Army Jack Tilley, 12th Sergeant Major in the Pentagon several years ago. Been a big admirer of yours ever since, sir. I'm proud to have you on the show. And I want to ask you a question about Google as far as China. Where would you draw that line, sir, as far as the interconnected? You have a tech company that obviously can be misused if you have technology being stolen. Where would you draw that line as far as businesses, especially tech companies, doing business in China?
Well, I think that the whole China affair is one that comes into question now. You know, we made a terrible strategic bet, just about most people in this country 25 years ago, when Deng Xiaoping opened up China economically. And America's business rushed in there, certainly, and our government was encouraging, let's help capitalize China, certainly. Let's get them into a market-based society, if possible. And with the hope that political reform would follow that. But we lost that bet. This is a more authoritarian regime, more repressive than it's ever been, going all the way back to Mao Zedong. President Xi's got more power than any successor to Mao Zedong has had. And what they have done with American businesses, and why there's so much concern with it, is to do business with them, you have to enter into a joint venture with them, and it's at that point that they're able to undermine and take intellectual property. And clearly, they are the most prolific data consumer in terms of cyber hacking in the world. They take our intellectual property and they take some of our most guarded secrets that we have in this country. Number two, they get intelligence. Number three, they take personal data. And anybody that's involved with China and trying to pursue information technology with them, I think you've got to have a huge amount of skepticism, regardless of what China says they're going to do with it. They're going to steal it, and that's the track record.
General, it's Liz Peek. My understanding is that China and the United States are neck and neck in developing AI, not just for commercial use, but also for military use. Can we actually get to where we need to be to maintain our lead here without Google? Or do you think Google's involvement is absolutely essential?
I don't know. That's beyond my expertise, because I don't know what their competitors can or can't do. I will say this. I strongly suspect that China is ahead of us in artificial intelligence pursuit, just as they are ahead of us in hypersonic weapons. And just for our viewers here who may not understand this, Russia and China have caught the United States in terms of the technological advantage that we have had. They have stealth technology, precision guys and musicians, advanced electronic warfare, and I could go on and on. And they have passed us in certain capabilities, so much so, and pay attention to what I'm about to say, that our military leaders and a commission that I've been on for over a year, a congressional commission on the national defense strategy, have said that we would struggle today to fight a war against Russia and China, and we could actually even lose. And that has been codified by our senior military leaders as well. Now, the good thing is Trump defense is bringing us out of this hole, much as the Reagan defense budget brought us out of a hole in the 1980s.
General, we got to leave it at that. I know Jonathan has a question, but we've run out of time. We are lucky to have you with us, General. Thank you very much for being here.
Good talking to you guys.
Great to talk to you.